Hey everyone, just in 4 days, I have a birthday, and that means I'll be officially joining the Senior Traveler Club. And honestly, that's exactly why I wanted to make this video. As I started planning my future trips, I realized that there are some major passport and TSA rule changes that happened in 2025 and more coming in 2026 that will affect me and anyone over 60 who plans to fly. I'm going to skip all the fluff and get straight into what actually matters. These are real rules with real consequences, and I'm going to break down exactly what you need to do to avoid problems at the airport. So stick with me because you will need to know all of this if you plan to travel anytime in 2026 or beyond. And you don't have to be over 60 either. Let's jump right in. Okay, let's start with the big one that already occurred, but the TSA just announced new rules around it. The Real ID enforcement began May 7, 2025 for all domestic flights. So if your driver's license doesn't have that star in the upper right-hand corner, TSA can reject it. And yes, this is for domestic flights. I'm talking about flying from Ohio to Florida, Texas to California, anywhere within the US. Now, here's why so many seniors and even travelers, other travelers as well, get caught by this. A lot of us renewed our license years ago and didn't realize we needed the Real ID version. Some states automatically upgraded everyone, but many states didn't. You actually had to request it specifically. So what happens if you don't have it? Well, you'll either need to show your passport for domestic flights, or you could face delays, secondary screening, or you might even miss your flight entirely. Here's what you need to do right now. Check your driver's license for a gold or black star in the top right-hand corner. If there's no star, you have two options. You can always bring your passport for domestic travel, or you can schedule a Real ID appointment at your local DMV. If you go to the DMV route, you'll need to bring your birth certificate or passport, your social security card, and two proofs of address like your utility bill or bank statement. Here's the kicker, and something that you need to know. If you don't have a Real ID and you don't plan to get one, or don't travel domestically with your passport, TSA is rolling out a new Confirm ID rule in February 2026, that's next month, where you will be charged $45 for extra identity verification. And it gets worse. The fee only lasts for 10 days. So if you go on vacation for 2 weeks and you're flying back, you will be hit with another $45 fee. So that's $90 out of pocket. To avoid all of that, my personal recommendation is that if you fly more than twice a year, just use your passport for everything. It's accepted everywhere and it eliminates any confusion. All right, so this next rule ends trips before they even start. And it catches travelers off guard because it seems so illogical at first. Here's the deal. More than 80 countries require your passport to be valid for 6 months beyond your entry date, not your return date, not just during the trip, but 6 months from when you arrive at your destination. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you're flying to Japan in February 2026 and your passport expires in July 2026. You might think, well, I'll be home in 2 weeks, so I'm fine. No, that's wrong. The airline will not let you board that plane because Japan requires 6 months of validity from your arrival date. This rule is strictly enforced in most of Asia, countries like Thailand, Vietnam, Japan, and China. It's also common in parts of Africa. Many Caribbean and island destinations, and several countries in Central and South America are doing this. So here's what you need to do. Look at your passport expiration date right now. Then add 6 months to any upcoming travel dates you have. If your passport expires within that window, you need to renew it immediately. Here's a smart habit that I recommend. Set a phone reminder 10 months before your passport expires. That gives you plenty of time to renew without stress or having to pay for expedited service. And before you book any international trip, just ask this simple question. Does this destination require 6 months of passport validity? Make sure you know the answer to that question. That one question and answer can save you thousands of dollars and a lot of stress. This next one is really sneaky because you might have blank pages in your passport, but they still won't let you board. Here's the rule. Many countries require 2 completely blank consecutive passport pages for entry stamps and visas. Scattered blank pages don't count. They have to be side by side, clean and unused. What catches seniors off guard is this. You flip through the passport, you see several blank pages scattered throughout the passport, and you assume that you're fine. But immigration officers need 2 pages next to each other. Yeah, I didn't know that until recently. Now, here's an important change. U.S. passports no longer allow extra pages to be added. So if your passport is full, even if it hasn't expired yet, you have to renew the entire passport because of those 2 blank pages. Before you book any trip, open your passport and check for the consecutive blank pages. If you have fewer than 4 total blank pages, plan to renew your passport. And research your specific destination because some countries are way stricter than others. Many African nations, some Middle Eastern countries, and parts of South America really enforce this rule. So make sure you know that. Oh, and here's a quick reminder. Children's passports only last for 5 years. So check everyone's passport in your family, not just your own, especially if your trip includes your kids or grandkids. This other rule feels really unfair because the damage often isn't visible to the naked eye. Here's the problem. Modern passports have an RFID chip embedded in the back cover. If you bend your passport repeatedly, like folding it to fit in a jacket pocket, you can actually break the internal antenna even when the outside looks completely perfect. When that happens, your passport will not scan at the e-gates. Airline checking systems will reject it. Border control treats it as damaged, and you could be denied boarding because of that. You also need to watch out for other types of damage, things like lifted or peeling laminate on the photo page, water damage or stains, a faded photo, torn or missing pages, or if you look drastically different than in your photo than how you look in person. Here's what you need to do. Never bend or fold your passport. Always store it flat. Use a hard shell passport holder. They cost less than $10 and they prevent most damages. Next time you're at the airport, test your passport at a self-service kiosk. If it struggles to scan or fails completely, renew it before your next international trip. And here's an insider tip. If you ever get caught with a damaged passport, calmly say this: I'd like to request manual processing while I arrange a replacement. It doesn't always work, but it's definitely worth trying. I hope all of this is digesting, and if not, listen to the video all over again. I'm not done yet though. Let's continue. This next rule doesn't look serious until it actually ruins your trip. And it's especially important for seniors who travel with multiple medications. Here's what most people don't know. Liquid medications over 3.4 ounces are allowed through airport security, but only if you declare them before screening. And if you don't speak up first, the TSA can legally confiscate them. Let me paint a picture for you. You pack liquid supplements or medications in your carry-on over 3.4 ounces, but medically necessary. At security, your bag gets pulled aside. The TSA agent asks, did you declare this? If you say no, they can take it away. Even if it's legal, even if you need it. Sounds sad, but it's true. So here's what you must do every single time. Before you reach the airport security checkpoint, separate all liquid medications over 3.4 ounces. Then declare them verbally. Just say, I have medically necessary liquids to declare, and make sure make sure to keep your prescription labels or a doctor's note visible. They may test the liquid, but it only takes seconds and then you're cleared. Here's my rule of thumb. If it's liquid and over 3.4 ounces, declare it even if it's over-the-counter drugs. But here's an insider move. Print the TSA medical exemption page from tsa.gov and keep it in your carry-on. If an agent hesitates, show it calmly. This small step can save your medication and your entire trip. This applies to prescription medications, liquid supplements, medically necessary liquids like contact lens solution or saline, and if you're traveling with an infant, baby formula and breast milk as well. Okay, so this is where a lot of information out there gets it backwards. Digital IDs are actually expanding, but there are still some important limitations that you need to know about. Here's the truth. The TSA is rolling out digital ID acceptance at more airports, but it's not universal yet. Even at airports that accept them, not every single checkpoint has the technology enabled. So what can go wrong? Well, you might arrive at a checkpoint that doesn't accept digital IDs. Your phone battery could die, the scanner could malfunction, and if you don't have your physical ID as backup, you're stuck. Let me give you a real scenario. A traveler stores their driver's license in their phone wallet, and leaves the physical ID card at home. They get to the airport, and that specific checkpoint cannot process digital IDs. Now they're facing flight delays and potentially missing that flight. So here's what you must do. Always carry your physical ID or passport. Treat digital ID as a backup or convenience, never as your primary identification. Keep your phone charged and your screen brightness high. And if you're using digital ID, know which airports and checkpoints actually accept it. Excuse me. If a digital ID fails, immediately say this: I have my physical ID as backup, and you hand it over. Here's another insider tip. Take a photo of your physical ID and store it in a password protected note on your phone. It's not official, but in emergencies, it can help verify your identity during secondary screening. The bottom line: technology is helpful, but at the airport, paper still wins. Well, most of the time, it does. If you're planning to travel to Europe, there are two new systems you need to know about. Both have been delayed multiple times. First, let's talk about the ETIAS. That's the European Travel Information and Authorization System. It started in 2025, where US travelers need prior authorization to enter most European countries, even for short vacations. Think of it like Europe's version of TSA pre-check. That's how I look at it. Here's how it works. You apply online at least 1 week before your travel. You pay a small fee. It's around maybe €7. Most approvals come within minutes, but some can take up to 96 hours. Once you're approved, though, it's valid for 3 years or until your passport expires. Now, this is important. The authorization is tied to your passport number. So if you renew your passport, you have to apply all over again for an ETIAS. What happens if you don't have it? Airlines will not let you board that plane. They check it when you check in, not at the European border. So apply at least 1 week before you depart. Keep a screenshot of your approval on your phone as well. And double check the official ETIAS website, because scam sites have popped up charging way inflated fees, and you don't want to get caught with that. The second change is the European biometric entry and exit system. Europe is implementing a biometric system that records your photo and fingerprints every time you enter or exit the Schengen area. Now here's why this matters for seniors. Travelers with arthritis, hand tremors, or limited mobility often have difficulty with fingerprint scanners. The process can take significantly longer. Let me give you a real example. A couple lands in Amsterdam, expecting a quick passport stamp. Instead, they're directed to a biometric kiosk. The husband has arthritis and his fingers will not register. They try multiple times. They miss their connecting train and they lose half a day of their vacation. So here's what you should do. Arrive at European airports at least 30 minutes earlier than usual. If you have a medical condition affecting your hands, tell the officer immediately. When you're booking connecting flights or trains, allow extra buffer time. And once you're registered in the system, future entries are usually faster. If you need help, just say this calmly: I have a medical condition that affects my hands. Is there another way? They do have accommodations, but only if you speak up. Now, I want to share some really great advice from a comment I found while I was preparing this video. Someone said if you book with a travel agent, most of the issues are avoided because the agent will check all your documents during your booking process and advise you of any problems to be solved before you even leave your home. And their booking fees are not that expensive, and it can save you stress and also money. This is honestly brilliant advice, especially for international travel or complex itineraries. A good travel agent will verify your passport validity as well and blank pages requirements. They'll remind you about visa and authorization requirements too, and they'll check your Real ID compliance. They'll warn you about destination specific rules, and they'll handle rebooking if something goes wrong along the way. For seniors or anyone who doesn't travel frequently, the peace of mind alone is worth it. You're not just paying for a booking, you're paying for expertise and someone who catches mistakes before they cost you thousands of dollars. So don't sleep on that one. Now listen, these 7 rules I just gave you are critical, but there are even more travel changes happening right now that could affect your next trip. I've actually put together a comprehensive ebook called 10 Massive Travel Changes that could absolutely wreck your next trip. That book covers everything we talked about today, plus more major changes already happening and coming, including new airline policies, updated visa requirements, and security screening updates you need to know about. I'll put a link to download it in the description below. It's a quick read and it could save you a lot of money and stress. So go grab it now while you can. You will definitely thank me later. Look, none of these rules are complicated, but missing just one of them can cost you your flight, your money, or your entire trip. Airports won't warn you. Airlines won't slow down for you. And once you're at the departure gate, that is too late. But here's the good news. Now you know exactly what to check. Take 15 minutes this week and do these things. Listen to the video all over again if you have to. Check your driver's license for that Real ID star. Look at your passport expiration date. Count those blank pages. And if you can, test your passport at an airport kiosk next time you're there. Travel after 60 should be about adventure and relaxation, not stress and surprises. And if this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who's planning a trip soon. And hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video where I'm going to talk about alternative choices to flying for seniors who are tired of all these rules and these changes. Let's make sure no one we care about gets stuck at the airport because of something they didn't know. Safe travels, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.